Hello, and thanks for wanting to get to know more about me. My name is Adriane Garland. I am currently teaching at Stanford American International School in Singapore, and I have been an educator for over 10 years. I am probably the definition of what you would consider a third culture kid. I was born in France to Canadian parents. We lived in Japan for a while, then I grew up in New York, where I attended a bilingual French school. When I graduated from college, I decided to pursue my master's in Sydney, and I taught there for 7 years before I decided it was time for a new adventure, and I moved to Singapore. So I really understand the struggles that some of our kids go through and the challenges that you can face when you are living in a country that maybe you don't really identify with, and how to really make yourself a part of that culture. I did my undergraduate degree at Boston University, and it was a dual degree in elementary and ESL education, and I had a minor in Spanish with the hope of working with high Spanish-speaking populations in America. While I was studying my degree in Boston, I actually did a semester abroad in Sydney, and I completely fell in love with the culture, the education system, and just the way of life. So after teaching in New York for a year, I actually decided to move to Sydney, and I pursued a master's degree in education with a focus in English and literacies. And when I finished my master's, I decided to stay in Sydney and to teach there. I was really lucky when I finished my master's degree in Sydney that I got a job at a school called Lycée Condorcet. It is a French international school in Sydney. I worked as the primary English coordinator as well as an English teacher. I helped build bilingual programs, teaching the French standards in English, and got to use my native language, which is French, every single day, which I absolutely loved. I didn't get to use my Spanish very often, but it was really great to speak in French on a daily basis with my colleagues, with parents, with students, and I really loved that aspect of my job. Working in Sydney, I was able to implement the Australian curriculum. I also learned a lot about the French national curriculum, as our school was an AEFE recognized school. When I moved to Singapore, I got to know the Aero Common Core standards as we use those in our daily teaching here. I also got to learn all about the PYP curriculum, which is absolutely fantastic. I love being a PYP teacher. I love the creativity, the ingenuity, the passion, the desire for learning that it fosters in students, and the values that it teaches everyone. I really find that there's a great sense of community through the PYP and through the IB program, and it's been a really fantastic 2 years implementing that in my classroom. Some of my passions outside the classroom, I am an avid rock climber. I've really taken it on in the past 2 years and really enjoy the mental break that it allows me. I've recently gotten into running, which I am slowly starting to love, though it's a little bit hard in the humidity in Singapore. I absolutely love hiking. I try to go most weekends, and it's such a great way to connect to nature and just recenter myself after sometimes a hard week at work. I also really love playing the ukulele, which is something that I've picked up from the music teacher. I'm really impressed with how the kids respond to it at the start of the day, how they feel at the end of the day, how it just calms them, how it teaches them that it's okay to make mistakes, and that the more you practice, the better you get at things. So I'm hoping to use it more in the classroom on a daily basis. I really love baking as well. When I lived in Sydney, I actually owned my own cake company and did a lot of decorated cakes and cookies. And I'm hoping to continue doing that as a hobby after school. It's really nice having a creative outlet that's just completely different from what you do at work. One of my passions for work is educational technology, and I've been really fortunate to work at a school where we have a one-to-one iPad program, and technology is really a part of every single day at Stanford. As you can see from this video, I have a real passion for using green screens. It's a great way to let kids express who they are and what they've learned. I'm an active participant on Twitter, and I find a lot of PD information is on there that I can find. A lot of ed tech that other schools are integrating in their classroom is expressed, and teachers are so excited about it, and it's so creative that I just have to bring it into my classroom. So recently we started using Flipgrid at school, and I got it rolled out from K to 12, and we have so many great initiatives that we've started this year and that we'll be building on next year. In fact, I'm so passionate about educational technology that I've actually presented on a few times. both to my colleagues in Singapore and also internationally at the 21st Century Learning Conference in Hong Kong. My big focus has been on using educational technology to help support EAL learners in their acquisition of language, which is a technique that not only benefits EAL learners, but it also benefits struggling readers and writers and speakers. So I've presented on educational technology with EAL learners. I've also presented on how to support EAL learners in a PYP classroom, and have really enjoyed sharing my knowledge with my coworkers and with other educators around the world. Speaking of sharing, I'm a very big fan of collaboration. I work on a daily basis with other teachers from my team. We share ideas, we share resources, we share successes and failures. We do projects together where the kids get to integrate with other students, and it's been really a positive experience, particularly at this school, of sharing our wealth of knowledge. I've done some curriculum work this year, which I've really absolutely loved. I didn't know that I enjoyed curriculum so much. I've worked on the phonics program that we're implementing at Stanford, and I've also worked on bringing the NGSS standards into Stanford. It's been challenging but really fun, and I'm really looking forward to implementing our new units as of next year. So what am I looking for? I'm looking for a school that is passionate about its students, that is passionate about keeping up with the times, that is passionate about teaching and about learning. I'm looking for a school that's just a little bit smaller than what I'm currently at, and hopefully an environment where I can use at least one of my second languages more regularly than I can now. I've really learned a lot at Stanford, and I learned a lot in Sydney, and I'm ready for something that's just a little bit different. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you'd like to know more about me, you can follow me on Twitter. You can check out my professional website here. If you want to see me teaching some of my lessons, you can also check out the videos here on my YouTube page. And I'd love to hear from you in the future. Thank you very much. Merci, arigato, sheshe, tak, toda, obrigado.